morning, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us for the second episode of Restart, a live learning series powered by Project Ripple, which at its core is all about people, passion, productivity, and purpose. In the series, we challenge the ideas of industry innovators and discuss how we can move forward with purpose in the fields of business, creatives, and wellness in the context of a changing landscape, or as everyone calls it, the new normal. My name is Dax Karnay, Chief Creative Officer of Echo Channels, and I will be your moderator this afternoon. Today, we're going to talk about live performers. How are they faring when everywhere is closed and everything is canceled? Is there anything they can look forward to in this pandemic? Let's take a closer look with what's trending today. Concerts across the globe are canceled with no new schedules in sight. Artists are hosting live stream performances to survive. Is migrating to the digital really a good thing? While live streams help keep the live performance community afloat and its patrons somehow filled for now, what about the near future? Live performances also bank on the connections formed with the audience, the instant reactions, the applause, and certain nuances that can only be experienced live. These are parts of the narratives that take place during a performance. So now, what becomes of these when the distance and the frames of a screen come in between? These questions we aim to discuss live with our guest speakers tonight. We have a very jam-packed and hard-hitting roster of panelists today. First, let's call on the head of Globe Studios, Mr. Cork Henares. Hi, Cork.
Hey, Dax. How are you doing?
Next is Vice President of Kumu, Casey Montero.
Hi, Dax. How's it
Hi,
going?
Casey. I'm good. Thank you for coming today. Next is Virgin Lab Festival Director, Mr. JK Anicoche.
Mabuhay, Dax!
Hi, nice seeing you. Next is musician and producer, Mr. Raymond Magasigan.
Hi, Dax. Kumusta?
Kamusta? Okay naman. And lastly, theater actor, comedian, host, and performer extraordinaire, Mr. Gerald Napoles.
Hello! Bias ka, Dax. Bias ka. Thank you.
Pagpunta ngayong hapon, ha?
Thank you.
Mic test. Hello, welcome back. And that's the beauty of live, guys. So I hope you can hear me now. So again, as I mentioned earlier, apologies first because of technical difficulties, and that's what we're going to talk about really this afternoon: the beauty and danger of live. All right. So again, as I mentioned earlier, please feel free to enter your questions in our comment section. We will be choosing certain questions and we will ask them at our panelists. And also, please, we will be putting up a poll that you can answer. So the first poll that we have today is: are you satisfied with the way live performances are being live streamed today? Answer between yes or no. You can just click it in and we will review it later. Okay? So again, now let's go on for a segment called Hot Takes. What do you think, our panelists? Are you satisfied with the way live performances are being live streamed today? Yes or no? Thumbs up for yes, thumbs down for no.
Oh man.
Ay, iba-iba. This
Uh,
is why we're here. This is
it's like the connection of the internet.
Oo. Depende sa connection katulad ko, no? Kala ko kasi sa
Oo.
Australia, mabilis din. All right, so now we will discuss that one by one. As you can see, we have really mixed views on this. So let's get their perspectives now in the slant. First, let's call on Festival Director of Virgin Labs, Lab Fest, Mr. JK Anicoche, and Vice President of Marketing for Kumu, Casey Montero.
Hi, Dax. Hi,
Hi
Casey.
guys. Hi, I'm just in my bathroom, so sorry. It's okay.
You super class, Casey, as always. Hi, JK.
Hi, Dax.
First
Kumusta?
question. So we can see now, despite the restrictions of not having a venue and an audience, we see artists make do with what they can online. So halimbawa ikaw, JK, you are a historical Virgin Lab Fest director because of what happened, right? So
Yes.
we know you are currently extending efforts to migrate your performances onto digital platforms. So we want to know, kasi syempre, in theater, in the performing arts, very traditional yung mga tao. Changing it will make heads turn and will, make some uncomfortable. Could you walk us through your process when you have decided na parang, sige, kailangan natin mag full on digital?
Yes, theater has always been about connection, community, and bridging messages across to audiences. No, the only difference is that before the pandemic, we will go to a dedicated space to a dedicated time, and so our idea of gathering is very much intentional. We're very intentional about being in the theater, sitting together, and sharing this live experience with each other. So I talked about community. It's very important to see theater as a community because in thriving times like this pandemic, how can we support each other? LabFest has two different communities: the artist community, including the staff, and at the same time, may isa pang community, the audience, who's also part of the LabFest community for the past 15 years. And every June, every year, they know that something will happen in June. So theater is also about service, and serving the people and sharing these thoughts and how do we cope together. So we were thinking so much about wellness and well-being of our artists and our theater makers in the theater community, and at the same time we're thinking about the audience community, how to help them have something to hold on to, or at the same time, like how do we address the issues that they still have even in the time of pandemic. So also, there's also a challenge of providing livelihood to a lot of artists. To cancel might mean like lesser opportunities for our mga kapatid in the arts to earn. So, guided by those two principles, well-being of the community and the and continuing livelihood, we shifted to online. But it's a very big challenge. And you said nga, it's about liveness, live engagement. So we're keeping that with us as we're migrating online. We took the challenge of liveness. But yeah, for us to be able to do that, we have to capacitate our artists, our staff. We are redefining roles. And also suddenly we have to bring in a virtual tech support, and at the same time create conditions where we can feel that we are a community supporting each other regardless how difficult it is.
Ayun. Ang ganda nung sinabi mo, no, JK. Like,
Mm.
especially I would like to take note of when you said service. So I would like to ask, like, now as artists serving people, of course the form had to change, right? Because you cannot
Yes.
serve something that's, let's say, I would not say outdated, but not apt at this moment. How did you go about these changes internally? Because of course, as an established festival, you have specific made out processes internally for the artist, for the theater goers, and for your team. What are the changes you've made?
We have to consider the idea. We always say in the Lab Fest that the collaboration online, but the human beings collaborating are on the ground. So it's very important to recognize the ground realities where we're at. So ibig sabihin nun, sometimes you have these fluctuating emotional conditions, and at the same time you have to rethink how we are rehearsing. Iba, in the theater, we rehearse for 4 hours, but now you will have to tend to your children or kailangan mong magluto sa bahay. There's also emotional labor that this pandemic is asking from all of us. So we have to consider that. Then from there, alam mo din na one way to deal with wellness is to also provide different capacities for each other. Na parang, okay, so let's do these workshops and provide conditions for spaciousness in the process. It is an opportunity for us to rethink how we are collaborating and coming together in one space, only now that it's digital. At the same time, we need to think about audience engagement. Before, you know who will go to the theater, di ba? It's very, it pupuntahan na sasadyain nila. But now, a lot of our works may be taken out of context. So you need to provide conditions where you can ease in audiences to this context and also provide a lot of spaces for conversation. So it doesn't end in the performance. It has to be a continuing conversation. And how do we do that? That's a good curatorial challenge that we're facing and answering nowadays.
All right, so you have shifted to digital efforts, right, JK? So you're using like cameras now, you're using streaming services? Mga ganun ba?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's a hybrid.
That's something we are looking forward to again, as this a very historic moment for Virgin Laugh Fest. And speaking of streaming services, we have here our very good friend, Mr. Casey Montero, Vice President. Oh my God, it's so weird saying that. Vice President of Kumu Philippines. How are you, Casey?
I'm good. I'm good. We're doing actually quite well during this difficult time. And if I'm going to be quite honest, I kind of hope it doesn't end for a little bit. I mean, joking aside, it's a digital platform and a streaming service. We've done quite well during this, but we were doing well anyways. But so there's a lot of things happening in the world, and I think one of the hardest things for JK and for any performer out there is the audience, and I think that's the hardest part, is being able to vibe with a group, with even like a stand-up comedian or a host. Like I'm hosting online, but I don't really know what people are thinking because I can't see their face. So I mean, there's a lot of little tricks, and there's a lot of things that we're going to have to learn as we go. But I think that when this thing does end, I really do think that we're going to kind of have, like you said, a hybrid type of performance. And I think it's going to create a whole new world and like kind of level up a live performance, because now you have people who are used to performing in front of audiences who are forced to now adapt and perform digitally. So now when this thing comes out, you're going to be able to combine both of those and have like a fucking kick-ass show.
All right, Casey, just for the benefit of people who are not aware of what Kumu is, it's a live streaming service wherein, correct me if I'm wrong, Casey, like people can instantly message the performer also. So could you walk us through the usual?
Sure.
Kumu.
So Kumu is a live stream app. We are the largest Filipino social, I wouldn't say social media, social platform in the world. I mean, as right now, we have all these people that they're streaming on Kumu. We launch about 25,000 streams every single day.
Wow.
We have people we've downloaded in 55, 60 countries around the world. We've got over 4 million downloads. So our goal is to try to connect every Filipino around the world. And maybe by the time this thing is over, we will have had our goal met. At least maybe we can get another couple million and then we can end it. But yeah, so what we do at Kumu though is because we're very community based and we are very, very engaged. Our audience is very engaged. So a lot of the performers who have been on Kumu, they really like it because it's instant. So what they're kind of missing when they get at a live show or in front of an audience, or let's say maybe if they're on YouTube or if they're on Facebook or any of those other streaming platforms, on Kumu it's 2 seconds. Like there's no delay compared to those other ones. And when you're talking about instant gratification, right? So when you're a performer and you see someone smile or laugh or clap, you know you're doing something right, correct? So you can continue to do that. So on Kumu, we also have a virtual gift economy. So if let's say someone sings a song that they like, they're going to go ahead and give them a gift. So we have taho, we have lechon, and these have a monetary value to them. And so we have people there who they earn a living like monthly on
Wow.
Kumu, and these guys are not like social media stars on Instagram, but they're Kumu famous and they have been on Kumu for a long time and they're making money. Not everyone has the talent to do it. It's hard to do.
Mhm.
But they are there and they're working at it. So you get that instant gratification as a performer and also as an audience member, right? Let's say if you're in the audience and I'm seeing let's say Raymond Matasigan and he's playing his guitar and I'm like, I love you, Raymond, and he looks at me and goes, wink. I'm like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. So when I give a gift to a singer who's on Kumu and they go, oh my gosh, thank you, Casey Montero, for the lechon or for the taho, I'm like, oh,
That is
wow, you
that is
just mentioned my
something.
name.
I don't know, Casey. That's something very novel in terms of streaming right now. So I believe that, as you mentioned earlier before the show started, that Kumu evolved from a messaging platform to a streaming platform now with instant gratification. Siguro, on your perspective as a tech maven of this group, how do you see platforms now evolving and moving forward, both for performers and for audiences alike?
I do think that we are going to be stuck like this for a while, and we don't really know when it's going to end. And at least for any type of live event, whether you're a host, whether you're a singer, whether you're not even on stage, whether you're just in events in general, I don't think we're going to be able to have this type the engagement like we had before, at least for another year. So I think that for other platforms and able to really get the audience and really get the artists to feel a little bit kind of like they're on a stage, they're gonna have to engage more, find more ways to have that instant gratification. Because right now, YouTube and Facebook, it's just a comment. So you really are just like you're looking at a camera and
Like
you're
Keith,
just kind of. I think I'm doing it right. I've sang these songs 100 times. I'm going to do what I believe they like, but you don't really know because you're just kind of blankly staring into your computer screen.
agree, definitely. So thank you for that. Now we have a video question from a very dear friend of ours. So let's see it.
Hey guys, so if I were to shoot content and stream it online, wouldn't that be just like shooting a regular TV show or sitcom or a movie? My question is there a way for the different platforms to sort of improve the audience experience online and transcend beyond the screen, just like the way watching a live performance does?
All right, that was live event director Mr. Paolo Valenciano. So would you answer first, Mr. JK Anicoche?
Yeah, I think just looking at performance as a live gathering, di ba? And we took this challenge of liveness. We are allowing some of our creators or directors to have like certain percentage of their work na recorded, but we're doing it, broadcasting it live, and doing it real time. Of course, we can endlessly argue or talk about like, is it film, is it theater? But what we know is that this is what we have now. So it's also very important. What I learned from audience engagement is this idea of being reflexive, and also sharing your processes. It's what you lack in the process. Na alam naman natin, we are in this third world. We are doing our best. We have an actor in Bicol, may bagyo doon, and maybe he cannot show up. But we are sharing this process to audiences, and they feel a certain affinity. If you're about that, there's a way to like show your processes and being honest about it. While at the same time, of course, you are providing the resources that are necessary, like Wi-Fi. How do we do that? Diba? Yes, and to simulate that audience experience of gathering or talking about the performance, you have, like what I said, you have to extend the engagement after the performance. So we're creating a lab fest tambayan, where it will be audience led, these conversations, and where we can channel in all these questions and all this information being shared by audiences. And we're also thinking about like what are other channels where people can gather and continue the conversation. And like what Casey said, gift economy, like this giving ecology that we have. How do we share that? So now we're just revealing so much of the process that we ask all the actors, the staff, the cast to write about their experience, and it builds a certain affinity and a certain certain connection with audiences even before the show. You build that up, so you gain the trust. It's a lot of hand holding and a lot of easing into the process. So I think transparency is key. Also, it helps in the flavor.
Napakaganda nung comment na of sharing the process kasi it also helps build yung value nung ginagawa mo, especially when the audience watch it. If you share the process with them, that's such a wonderful insight. How about you, Casey? How do you answer that question?
Well, at Kumu, we're just going to say on Kumu, we are very proud about engagement and about we are live. There's nothing that comes out of Kumu that is recorded. So when it comes to getting the audience more involved, we have our tech allows our audience to choose the direction in which way things happen, right? Like even as a live streamer, you can say, hey, you know what, guys, enable the audience for something to happen. Like Morissette's on Kumu. She's on there all the time, and she'll say something like, "Hey guys, if I reach 5,000 diamonds, or if you guys give me a Malakanyang, which is one of our bigger gifts, I'll sing you my new song." And so people are like, "Okay." Or if she'll say, do you want me to sing this or do you want me to sing this? Vote. Let me see how many people want to hear this song or how many people want to hear this song. So there's a lot of ways that you can make sure that the audience is part of this and really make them feel that they're part of a bigger production, because you would feel that when you're on stage, right? You would feel that. Do you want me to hear this? Do you want to hear this song? And people will cheer, right? So you could do that. You can do that with other platforms as well. Like you can do that on Facebook and stuff like that. But for us, it's instant. And JK, if you want a private chat room, we can do that too. So we have pay-per-view. We have pay-per-view concerts happening very soon because
Thank you so much.
oh, you're cutting me off.
Very similar to JK said, as in involving the audience as a step moving forward. That's amazing. Thank you so much. So JK and KC, don't leave yet. We'll come back to you later. We're just going to move on to our next set of panelists. So next on the slant, let's hear it from the director from Globe Studios, Mr. Quarquinares, actor, host, comedian extraordinaire, Mr. Gerald Napoles, and musician producer, Mr. Raymond Marasigan.
Hey! Hey, Dax. Background ba yan or kwarto mo talaga yan?
Kwarto talaga to. Kwarto talaga to.
Galing eh, well lit. Very well lit.
Maraming salamat sa pasilip sa iyong kwarto.
Nako, yan tayo. Ngayon. So, okay, guys. Generally, so as we collectively go by the days ng pandemic nito, as in, I feel like, and I don't know if you agree, that people are, especially artists, are grappling with this new reality. This is something new for them. It's something they're really trying to understand, diba? So first, I'll ask muna Gerald. So bilang aktor ng teatro at ng TV at ng pelikula, syempre you can see definitely the difference between performing on stage and on TV. But this is a new thing. So what do you think now would become of live performances? Bilang ano yung esensya mo bilang actor pa yung matitira if you're performing in front of a screen, or what's the difference? Ano ba yung nakakamdaman mo in a perspective as an actor?
Well, basically, it takes too much effort for an artist, especially for a theater actor. For example, I'm also part of a Virgin Lab Fest play for JK, and we're actually having meetings quite often regarding, pero mas more percentage of the meeting, we're talking about how we're gonna do this digitally. So plays are very physical, and it's also proscenium and very lahat ng katawan namin ginagamit namin. So
Oo.
it's quite hard for us. Pero it's a learning process for all actors, for most actors, because on our part, if we're producing this as a digital content, we are also going to be the director,
Mhm.
the set designer, the
Mhm.
stage hand, and everything. And plus, we're going to be the post production also. We have to learn the technology and everything that's included. So it's really a big effort, but because theater actors are used to this kind of hardships, so we're coping up. So
So, if you can summarize, sorry, Jack, if you can summarize in one thing, ano ba yung pinaka natutunan mo na now that you're performing for a computer screen? Bilang performer, bilang aktor.
uh, basically, one of the things that's very important if you're gonna do it live streaming or live performances via streaming is audience retention. You have to
Mm.
learn about that. It's important because you have to communicate to the audience abruptly, like first
Mhm.
things first. Kasi sa usually live performances, because they bought the ticket, they're gonna stay there. Of course, they're
Yes.
gonna wait for the plot and the
Mhm.
graph of the story. But with live streaming, because I can rewatch it later,
Mhm.
so and I can forget about it, rewatching it
Mhm.
later. So at siguro unang first act pa lang, you have to come across with what you want to say. So
Sinubugbog na.
yes, so kailangan siguro as a writer also and as a producer, mas magiging challenging for most of us to tweak on how you write contents and scripts.
Ayun, maraming salamat doon, Gerald. Napaka-insightful nun. Like,
Thank
gusto
you.
ko yung sinabi mo na talagang yung to keeping the audience bilang nakakalimutan nila yun agad. So, kayo naman, I'm gonna go to Raymond. So, Raymond, you're a producer and a musician and a live performer. So, ako kasi hindi ako musician, hindi ako performer. So, what do you think are the current struggles of people like you right now in this pandemic? So, I've heard kasi some are more productive daw. Pero meron namang hindi masyado. So, what are your takes on this?
Uh, coming up from a very punk rock and hip hop background, I see it as this limitation. I see it as an opportunity. Parang I kind of despite sa nangyayari sa labas, sa totoong labas ng mundo, parang mas okay yung opportunity eh. Parang I've been talking to friends and bandmates. What can we do that we cannot normally do in during normal times? So I think Sandwich was the first band to release videos of us playing online together before Backstreet Boys, before Green Day, and like parang I see we need to find opportunities in the limitations. Parang kunwari 5 lang yung string ng gitara mo kasi wala kang pambili ng ano yung pwede mong tugtugin doon. Parang ganun. So we're looking for things inside the limitation, which is the challenge, which I also enjoy. So I've played a lot of shows. I get to collaborate with a lot of people I've always wanted to work with pero walang time. But now parang pwedeng sabay-sabay. 'Di ba dati you have to meet them, you have to go through traffic, schedule a day. now halos real time. You're collaborating with 2, 3 different artists and working together on things. So I
So,
see it as an opportunity.
yeah, I have to agree with Raymond. Like, sobrang ganda nung sinabi mo, Raymond, no, when you're saying that creativity comes from limitations. So, sa palagay mo, in the next couple of months, like, ano ba yung mag-change ngayon in terms of music and music performance or music production sa panahon ng pandemya?
This is what I'm thinking.
Mhm.
I just played a show a few days ago, which a lot of people saw. Like 400,000 people as of now. I don't know how many. Pero I can't do that in a real venue. But alam mo yun, parang ganon. Yung parang, oh, you can do that. Parang Sandwich can perform to 20,000 people all at once. Parang we can't do that on a normal day. So I think it's trying to find these things that will work for you and will work for your community.
All right, thank you so much for that, Raymond. So, remind ko lang yung viewers natin that we are having a poll and you can answer it by just clicking. So, currently the question is, are you satisfied with the way live performances are being streamed today? 71% said yes. Pero meron po tayong 29% na nagsabi ng no. Nako. Sige, expound pa natin yan. Now, moving on to our other panelists. So, now we observe challenges that arise from this setup, the things that live performers didn't necessarily have to deal with before, such as competing with audience attention and retention for the most random things like memes and cat videos, as mentioned by Gerald na earlier, di ba? Bilang mababa yung attention span ng ating mga manonood. So I asked this to Quark. So Quark, with the hyper presence of all forms of content now, like you are competing with a freaking cat video or an octopus choosing which football team wins, what ensures a scroll-stopping performance online? What do you think would really keep the audience engaged and watch you continuously?
I think the first and most important thing is that you have to accept it, diba? Na parang yun nga, kalaban mo yung Twitter, kalaban mo yung Facebook. I mean, even now that we're having this panel, how many of the people watching are actually sending out emails or tweeting or texting their friends? And yun yung yun yung parang I guess the downside of this new normal in terms of like live experiencing live things. I think what live entails is that yun nga, that there's a being present with each other. Actually, may nabasa akong article by Dave Grohl. Nabasa mo ba yan, Rames? It was really touching kasi yun nga, parang for the artist, parang he likes to turn on the lights kasi he likes seeing people air drum to his songs and he likes seeing people cry to the music. Parang he has the best seat in stage. So even for the artist, nawawala yung aspect na yun. And which is great for, that's why Kumu is being so popular now because it brings us a step closer to that. But also, I think now is also a great time for being inventive, a great time for being innovative. Sabi nga ni Rames kanina, like, I think 2 days into the quarantine, diba? Biglang naglabas yung Sandwich ng video. And you guys didn't even perform it live together, diba? You had a click track and you all performed to the click track. So it was something that, oh, okay, this has never been done. And then si Je has, napanood ko yung Kim Je, quarantine lockdown
Thank
video.
you.
Yung Oops My Heart, pahingi ng link ng lahat ng Oops My Heart video. but Kim Molina and Jay have this YouTube show na
Thanks,
they're doing for during quarantine. So parang ang daming, it's so inspiring. It's been a very inspiring 2 months, I think, seeing people get together, do fundraisers.
So, one question. Sorry to cut you off.
Go lang.
As a director, as an experienced director, what tips or what pointers or what should people keep in mind as performers when they're doing their lives on screen?
Okay. Well, I think honesty and you have to also look at what's available to you now, and it's feedback, diba? It's being able to talk to people, to respond to comments, yung mga ganun. So I think stop thinking about yung aesthetics and great lighting and awesome sound. Right now, I think the more real it feels, the better, and take advantage of that, diba? And then experiment. We have nothing better to do anyway, right? So, and what I notice a lot of like film people are doing now is really writing their scripts, really taking this time to pause and work on stuff that they'll shoot after the quarantine.
All right, thank you for that. So, Quark, now we're going to just show you another question that I would preferably everybody answers. So let's see this.
Hi guys, good afternoon. I'm Iggy from Rusty Machines. So my question is, now that everybody is
how
online,
can live performers adapt
to the online stage? Is there a certain rule book that musicians should follow?
All right, that's a very siguro based na lang from your experience because sobrang iba-iba naman kayo ng background. And I think that would help Iggy a lot. Let's start with Jet.
Honestly, I don't know. Kasi basically amongst all performers, theater actors ang pinaka mahihirapan with the adjustments because the stage is our world, you know. It's we take all the spaces on stage. So the blockings, even if it's chaotic as it may look when you're watching it live, it has a purpose. You know, it has a purpose. It's part of the script because it's how the script sees the world. So for us, I recently I've read articles that some theater actors abroad are experimenting on how to do a physical theater thing by using Zoom, but it's yet to be discovered. I don't know how it will, what will happen. And this Virgin Lab Fest is going to be very innovative in terms of the new world for theater actors. I'm excited. In my part, because I'm a content producer also, and I'm a film actor. Somehow, I have a background of what to do, but with the most theater actors who's so passionate in performing on stage, I hope they can, you know, like learn something in the process and create what they can.
All right, thank you so much for that, Jet. How about you, Raymond?
I think the first thing artists need to do, Iggy, is to not worry about the audience. Not worry about how many people are going to watch or like or even approve of what you're doing. But I think I agree with most of the artists here that they say that it has to be honest. If it's honest and it has a good story, I think people will like it. More probable than not. Ibig ko sabihin, if I start me as myself, if I start to do a cover of kunwari Billie Eilish, who's one of the most popular artists right now, nobody will believe me. Even if it's a well-produced, nice cover of a really popular Billie Eilish song. But people will dig it if I do a heartfelt cover of Depeche Mode, which is more of my age. Alam mo yun? So I think honesty talaga eh. So that's it.
Yung pagiging totoo sa sarili mo kasi parang hindi mo naman maloloko kasi yung audience na parang yung may tinatawag sila dyan parang doing it for the clout. Kumbaga. Diba? May mga ganun kasi tayo eh. So ang ganda nun na parang maging totoo tayo sa gusto natin. Alright, now moving on to Quark. Ikaw naman, Quark.
Well, I think yung beauty is walang rule book kasi never to nangyari in our lifetime or actually this hasn't happened in the digital age, in the history of the digital age. So we are creating the rule book. Yun nga, di ba? In speaking of theatrical performances, yung spit every Thursday, so tonight you can check out the Spit page. They do the improv comedy live, and then they've experimented with different formats. Like, so aside from the usual Spit style, may sketch, and they'll do something like the Circle, yung reality show pero version nila na improv. So they're playing around, or they'll pass things like, Dax, kunin mo yung tubig ko. And then so it's fun, di ba? Ayun, si Raymond pa rin.
All right.
So,
Thank you.
diba? And then
I'm sorry, go continue.
Ayun, and then people have been doing telethons. Verbal did a telethon, and then everybody's just going out of their comfort zone, and I think yun yung beauty of it. Na parang it's not itong best practices, wala, about going on Zoom, and even this thing, StreamYard, for example, a lot of new ways of kind of presenting things, not just Zoom and Google Hangouts. So it's really an innovative time. So super exciting.
True. I don't have to agree. Kumbaga, there's no rules because nobody has done this before. Nobody has been in this situation before. So therefore, wag tayong magpapakupot kumaga sa mga dapat bang sundin at hindi dapat sundin. Napakaganda ng answer mo, Quark. All right, right now let me call back our other panelists to the screen, because we're going to answer some questions from the comment section. So let me just remind everyone that there is a poll going on, and right now the current poll is: are you satisfied with the way live performances are getting streamed today? Currently, we have 70% yes and 30% no. May mga hindi pa din masaya. So let's change the poll. Let's move on to our next poll, which is: what do you, as audiences, mga nanonood ngayong hapon, once live performances are allowed again, will you immediately attend the event nearest you, or would you just settle on with online performances for the time being? So answer with attend live or settle home, and we will get back to you once towards the end of the show. So yeah, so now let's pull in some questions from our comment section to be answered by our wonderful panelists. We have a question from JV Can. This is addressed to Mr. JK. Do you think this online theater performances will just be a one-time thing because of the pandemic, or will this be a new option for theater practitioners in the future?
I really think that this is the peak of virtual performance making, but at the same time, after COVID-19, we will find better ways how we can be together. But also, we need to consider that itong virtuality na ito, these performances we're doing online, will not be an alternative anymore. Kundi extension na siya. It will be an extension of the performances we're creating. For now, what you see online, these recordings of shows, most of them are just documentations or archives, with no film audience in mind, or even online audiences in mind. When we go back to our spaces, we can only accommodate a few people. Now the floodgates have opened. We have more audiences watching, more interest in theater happening now. So we will not leave the online audiences. So we will create more extensions to online pa rin. So maski nagla-live na tayo ulit in specific space, in 2 years man yan, meron tayong extension na online performance.
Ay, maraming salamat doon, JK. And we have another question from FB comment section again. From Jan: after the pandemic, would you guys go back to the traditional means of producing live performances, or push through with exploring these new platforms? Maybe let's give Casey, Raymond, Jay, and Quark a chance to answer. Casey?
Well, I don't think anything will beat a live performance. I mean, I just don't see you going to at your home watching a band play with you holding up a lighter. I just don't see that. I don't think you're going to do that. But like I said, this is going to create a whole nother avenue, a whole nother way to create and kind of extend these live performances. So will it go back to exactly the way it was? No, because I think what Raymond was saying earlier, that these limitations are creating opportunities. So everyone in the world who is in this pandemic, who is in the entertainment business, who is in the live events business. They've figured ways out, and they're kind of forced to learn new things. So I think that's almost and these are the things that you weren't going to learn on your own because you're busy on stage. So now that you're at home, you're like, okay, well, wait, so this USB goes into this. Oh, this is how you actually stream. Like, there's a lot of people who are now just learning how to stream for the first time. So again, I think it's just going to be a whole nother type of addition to the live performance.
Yeah. Raymond?
I think like yung kay JK, extension na to eh. I mean, madali naman bumalik sa traditional live. We can all do it. We're all used to it. But think of it as an extension. Like, as of right now, all my bands are gearing for the GCQ.
Mm-hmm.
Nakakasana. I mean, the studios and the cameras and the gear is ready. Just as soon as we hit GCQ, mag-a-adapt ulit kami. Parang ganun. So yes, like extension and traditional, and it's all the same thing.
All right. Gerald?
I'll go for both, yes. So, it's a new learning for me also to do this online thing. And as a performer, there's a wider audience na makakanood sa mga performances, and it creates opportunities also for people who weren't able to perform. Especially in the theater, you do auditions and castings and everything. Now, if you really believe in your talent and you have the talent, you can like join Kumu of Casey and sing there. You can really maximize what you have for now.
All
So
right.
really, I also agree with JK that this is just an extension, and live performance has been there for ages, was tried and tested, so magsistay naman yun.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So now we have another question after after that question. All right. I think the perfect person to answer this is really Quark. All right, Quark.
From
People, Joey kasi ito eh. How do we convince people to pay for live stream performances? Quark,
Oh my
you are
God.
the person to answer.
Yun ang challenge talaga, no? I think, and I have a sub question that I'll ask the rest of the panel, if that's okay after this. But
I'm listening because we're doing this too.
right? Like, yeah, because DJ Joey Santos asked the question, and yun nga, parang we're in strange times where it was hard to actually charge people in the beginning, kasi yun nga, because of the sensitivities and what everyone's going through. So I think now that we're 2 months into it, parang mahirap pa rin kasi nakasanayan na yun nga, parang this is artists giving, but at the same time yun nga, parang nakakalungkot din kasi artists are always the first to give it, diba? Yung musicians or thespians, or they're always the first to give and to raise funds, but whereas a lot of the other professions are still getting their salaries, making money during the COVID era, diba? So I think you'll kind of just have to eventually, after a while, align with everyone and say, yun nga, parang it's been fun, this has been great and a growing experience, but it's also now it's time. We don't have gigs, we don't have we can't really sell physical copies of albums anymore. So there really has to be a way to find for artists to find a way to make money, right? And the question I also wanted to ask, especially I think JK, Rames, everyone is diba, yung Huling El Bimbo, I really wanted to watch it as a play, and it did well over the weekend sa YouTube. But I found I never saw the play, but I always wanted to see it. But I couldn't watch it sa YouTube kasi for me parang hindi dapat live experience yung play. So I guess for the rest of you guys, like what do you feel about yun nga parang the digital videoization of theater, diba? What do you guys feel?
answer this?
Yeah, that's an interesting point of conversation because meron tayong film language, right? And we Cork would know that. Iba yung film language to like seeing it in proscenium, flat, and hindi ka maka-zoom in, and then suddenly you are going to craft this to show sa audiences na may ibang codes or ibang ways of consuming information, watching na sanay sa Netflix. But what's interesting is that I think that's one point. That's why I said that when we migrate online or when we do all these recordings in the future, we make sure na meron tayong online viewer in mind. I'm not sure if the El Bimbo was actually na-anticipate nila to that they will release it as a video form kasi iba yung dynamics. But I think what we're learning from El Bimbo then is that, people are really interested only sa theater. If only we made it more accessible in the past and we opened more platforms where people can come in and share their information. So now that it's accessible, it's asking more questions. How can we be responsible in our engagements, right? Like, so after audiences see your show, where do we lead them towards? Yung mga ganong questions, like, do we need to provide like additional support for the audiences? So yun, I think it comes with intentionality and also understanding the different medium that we're toying around it. And yun na nga, kailangan i-craft talaga yung engagement. Hindi siya mag-i-end sa performance or yung product or yung film.
All right.
I think what's happening is the audiences are starting to get a little more educated already on what is really happening and that we're all in this together. So maybe they wouldn't have watched it before, but now because it is maybe the only option, so they're kind of forced to see it that way, and it kind of opened their eyes to a lot of like, hey, this is actually okay. And so when it comes to watching theater, whether it's live or whether it's online, it's going to come down to inevitably your taste, right? How many people say, "Oh, I read the book. The book is better." Than watching the movie, right? So it might come down to that. And when it comes to the pay-per-view, which is hard to do because everyone's struggling during this time, right? But the beauty of it, like what Raymond said, he had 400,000 people watching. So this is not something that you have to be in the Philippines to watch. You could spend 100 pesos and watch these guys anywhere you are in the world. So that's kind of what we're trying to do.
Raymond, yeah, please, Raymond, answer.
Parang yung sinabi ni Casey. Ito yung sagot ko sa tanong ni Joey. We don't have to charge the people, but we can charge the promoter and the sponsors. Because like I said, kunwari, if an alcohol drink would pay a promoter X amount of money for bands to play in a club where only 200 people will see it, how much would they pay if you will play online and promise them more than 200 people? Plus, you don't have to pay for sound system, crew, venue, parking, all the logistics. So, pwede mong ibenta sa promoter na that's how you sell it to the promoter. You will save more money by paying it to the artist, and more eyes will see your sponsors. I hope that makes sense.
It does.
Businesses are going to have to adapt to that.
Yeah, I think that's such a wonderful question from Quark and answered wonderfully by our panelists. So right now, with all of this new learnings in mind, I think it's now time to find out how we will all restart. So at this point, each panelist will have 2 minutes to give their key takeaways and their insights on how to restart live performance in this age. So let's call in Gerald Napoles first.
Yeah, hello. Anyway, I just want to answer also Quark's question a while ago regarding the streaming of live theater shows. It's important for today because it fills the gap in the entertainment industry. It's like you're watching concerts and everything, and it also creates awareness sa mga tao that this is theater. This is how we do it inside the theater. So after all of this, if we're allowed to do live shows for the theater, people are more aware, so it's a good promotion also. And during these times, uh, I think for now it's important to learn all the aspects of digital performances because health is wealth, so we have to give importance to that. And after all of this, we have something, we learned something new. That's the most important thing that's happening now. And let's just pray that this ends really, really soon. And that's it.
Maraming salamat, Gerald, and we all do pray that it ends very, very soon. Up next now is Mr. Quarkiniris. Your 2 minutes is up.
Okay, well, no, I just wanted to say that it's, despite being very scary times and very terrifying times, this has also been very inspiring times. And the reason I'm still sane is I get to see Kim and Jess lockdown videos, and I get to see Raymond perform, and I'm excited to see the Virgin Lab Fest, and it just and Kumu, and check out Kumu. So it's just really great seeing people get together. Sometimes even more than real world, diba, to stand behind something, and that's really what will guide my restarting, I guess. Togetherness, authenticity, and kind of believing in something and working towards that.
Thank you so much, Quark. And I agree, being authentic at this time is there's no other option but rather be authentic. All right, thank you so much. Up next is Raymond Marasigan.
Lahat ng sinabi ni Court. and don't be limited by the limitations. Let's learn from each other. Find out how the theater people are doing it. Find out how the TV people are doing it. Find out they've been very successful. Find out how the sex workers are doing it. And diba, parang just find the opportunities. Take care of each other. That's very, very important. Take care of each other and be honest. That's it.
All right. So before we move on to our next panelist, ngayon muna balikan natin yung ating poll. Once live performances are allowed again, will you immediately attend the event near you or settle with online performance for the time being? As of now, 50-50. It's like an equal split in the middle. So, to be honest, ako din. Titignan natin yan. All right? So, moving on to our next speaker, let's call Mr. JK Anicoche. Your 2 minutes is up.
In every risk or in every crisis or disaster, there's always risk, danger, and opportunity. So this is a good time for us to rethink our processes, learn from the challenges of our systems, and of course, it's a time to build communities. And at the same time, rethink our models of sharing. And I think ang ganda ng sinabi nila about togetherness. I want to add to that. Now, everything is about building communities and generosities. But I want to pose this provocation to everyone. Like, you're all collaborating online nowadays. So I want to ask, how can our online exchanges inform our ground experiences? I think napakagandang tanong nun, saka magandang pag-isipan as artists and creatives. Yon, interesting time to be alive.
That is true. Sobrang interesante ng mga panahon ngayon. And now, we talk to Mr. Kumu, Mr. Casey Montero.
So how are sex workers doing it?
Oh my God.
This must be like a really good time for them. Like no touching, no nothing. Like that's just. Oh, we're on. Okay, so you know that this thing has this year is going to be changing the way business has done in the entertainment industry, in business in general. I think it's going to change it the way it will be done for the rest of eternity. There's going to be things that we've discovered that we are doing now that we're going to continue to do. And I think that as an audience, as someone who is consuming this online, that you have to let the artists know what you like. You have to give them feedback. You have to let them know that, hey, yes, this is good. The number, like let's say, if you click it, if you like it, so that the artist doesn't feel, I guess, intimidated by the platform, because not everyone is good at it. In terms of businesses have to adapt, and businesses like their whole, like a brand, like a Coke or a Pepsi or whoever it is. The reason why you do events is for people to see you, right? So now, why don't you do that when you can get in front of a bigger audience? So, I mean, they've already done this with social media, but now you have all these artists who are willing to do so. So, we're going to get out of it. Eventually we will. And we'll get to where we can go to events. It may be different, but for the next year or so, it's going to be a bit difficult. So with that said, you also have to understand that artists, their livelihood is made by being on stage. So as much as these Facebook concerts are free for everybody, that can't happen forever because people need to eat. So whether you support them by going to their live stream, whether you support them by helping, if you are with a brand and saying let's do this, or let's support whatever it is they're doing, we all gotta eat. Okay, so let's all try to figure out how to get through this next year together. That's sex workers.
All right. Thank you so much, Casey. I love that you're paying attention. Let me just call back all our panelists again so that we can see them one more time.
You said it, man. Like
Raymond.
All right, guys. Anything you want to I believe a lot of things you want to plug. Like, let's start with Quark. Is there anything you want to say to our audience before we let you go?
Ano ba? Panahon ng Halimaw is streaming now, and it's all the proceeds will go to Lockdown Cinema Club for the film workers who don't have jobs right now because there's nothing to shoot. So this is like utility people, art department, PAs, etc. So go to shure.com.ph, SHOOR.com.ph, and check out Lav Diaz's Panahon ng Halimaw. It's a good 4.5 hour experience.
Salamat po. JK? Of course.
Yes, please watch the Virgin Lab Fest online. This weekend we're going to we will announce online saan nyo mapapanood. We have live performances and a dedicated channel for our recorded performances. We'll have talkbacks, panels, discussions, some learning platforms for everybody. At keep in touch, mga kapatid. Tuloy-tuloy lang.
Maraming salamat, JK. Raymond?
All my bands have music and are promoting live shows and recorded music online. Check it out. Thank you for having me. Great talking to you guys, and please take care of each other.
Maraming salamat, Raymond. How about you, Jet?
Hello, yes. Ang sweet ni Quark, kanina pa niya pinopromote yung YouTube namin. Thank you. Kim J YouTube channel, Lockdown Serie. Good vibes for this quarantine period, and yeah. Kim is here. Thank you daw. So yeah, she's watching also. And yeah, and Facebook page, we're doing some kung anong kalokohan there. I might join Kumu later. Yeah. So that's it, guys. Stay healthy, and then no matter what, artists find ways to make things happen. That's it.
Maraming salamat, Gerald. And finally, Mr. Casey Montero.
Support a local. I'm just kidding. Support local in general. Just Kumu. I've been talking about it all the time. Give it a shot. Download it. If you don't like it, that's cool. If it's not for you, that's totally fine. But yeah. So and support everybody. We're all struggling together, and we all need to find ways to make money, and we all need to find ways to show compassion, and we all need to stay the fuck home. So just be good people, right? And we'll get out of this eventually.
All right. Thank you so much, Casey. Maraming pong salamat sa iting lahat ng panelists. Thank you so much for spending your afternoon with us. It's really an honor sharing this live screen with you guys. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you.
So just to wrap up the poll that we have, once live performances are allowed again, will you immediately attend an event near you or settle with online performances for the time being? It's a very, very tight vote, guys. It's 48% for yes and 52% for no. So we have learned a lot of things this afternoon. We have learned about letting the rule book go, being authentic, being honest, letting your creativity flourish amongst limitations and everything. So, and with digital, like, we're putting in a lot of effort. We're putting extra mile, learning new things, and putting on new hats. So, my stand, personally, as Dax Karnay, I believe if if live performance will really be doing an exit? I don't think so. I think that live performance will continue and would stay. Live performance have outlived most human beings on earth. Back from the ancient Romans to the Renaissance to the Enlightenment period up until the modern age. Live performance have moved societies, have changed cultures, have brought justice to everyone. And it will continue to do so. Pandemic or no pandemic, live performance will be the yearning of your art, of your artful body. Ito pa din ang hahanapin ng isang tao. Ang mapanood ang isa pa niyang kapwa-tao na inilalahad ng sarili niya sa isang entablado, binibigay ang lahat. At even though these new forms are amazing, these are great, and we welcome everything with open arms because it widens our horizons. These are not competitors. These are our sisters and brothers in terms of form, in terms of content. But again, personally, live performance will not go away. And I'm pretty sure you will realize that in the future, if not now. All right. And that was Restart Creatives. We hope you all learned something new and something fresh today. Tune in our third episode this coming May 19, where we will talk about Gen X and millennials as they fight for their new work order. Make sure you're following our page, Project Ripple, to get your updates and don't miss out. And once again, my name is Dexter Nye, Chief Creative Officer for Echo Channels, and thank you all for watching.